Hello everyone, E3 well underway. You can see the crowds of journalists and gamers waiting to get into the Los Angeles Convention Center where all the games are and get their hands on them. You know, there's been a lot of talk about virtual reality, and Sony is throwing in a little bit of a twist. Virtual reality has always been known as an immersive single-player experience. That could change with Project Morpheus. Morpheus is Sony's virtual reality headset, which is slated to hit the market next year, but Sony wants to make it a multiplayer experience. Sony teased a few new titles which will allow multiple people to enter the same game. In fact, you'll be able to see other players in the environment as you play alongside them. This could be a game changer for virtual reality. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Turning to Nintendo now, while some of the companies are making hardware announcements to make enhancements to their existing consoles, Nintendo is focusing on the games. Nintendo announcing a return to some cherished franchises. Star Fox Zero is one of those titles. We haven't seen a Star Fox game on a console in nearly 10 years. This is an aerial shooter fans have been clamoring for, and will introduce a few new features that were supposed to appear in Star Fox 2, which was ultimately cancelled 20 years ago. And of course, we'll be seeing the return of Mario in Super Mario Maker. This unique title, which was originally announced at last year's E3, lets gamers create their own playable Mario levels. You can then share those creations with others online. Now, we had a chance to play around with Super Mario Maker, and I can say it's incredible what you can create. Expect the game to be released this fall. But while Nintendo is eager to talk about its titles, there are a few topics that it is staying away from. One of those is its next generation console, which will ultimately replace the Wii U. Reggie Fils-Aimé, Nintendo President of America, has acknowledged the company is already working on a follow-up console to the struggling Wii U, but the company's decided not to talk about it at this year's E3, saying it will wait until next year before it makes any announcements, rather focus on the games this year. And speaking of games, something else we won't see at this year's E3, Nintendo games created for smartphones. Earlier this year, Nintendo announced it created a partnership to create games for the iPhone and Android devices, something the company said would never happen. Now, up to 7 games could hit smartphones within the next 12 months. However, those games are nowhere to be found on the show floor. Nintendo not ready to give us details on those just yet. Keep it locked on the Daily Download for all the gaming news coming out of Los Angeles and E3. But for now, I'm Mike Yawney, and your download is now complete.